Okay.
All right, Ms. Daniels, are you able to see the screen? All right, your face is the only one that I can see, so you have to give me a signal if we need to make any adjustments. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are excited to welcome you and your family to Elizabeth Lane. And hopefully this morning we will answer some of the pertinent questions that might be on your mind to help you feel ready to bring your child to us in August. At ELE, our mission is that all children are valued and respected members of the ELE family, and we support our students' diverse needs with high expectations for academic growth. And to get us started, we want to share some words of advice and information from our current kindergarten students. And I'm going to go back and check one thing. We used to be much better at virtual meetings, but we are a little out of practice after not having to use it for a while. Now we got it. So we'll take a few minutes to let our current kindergarten students tell you their thoughts about kindergarten.
What is your favorite part of kindergarten?
Mine's emotion because I get to use all my energy and I also get to hit balls.
Why are you proud of yourself?
Because I've been reaching my goals in math.
How did you learn to get to class?
So on the first day of kindergarten, my mom walked me to my class, and then I remembered how to walk to my class through the rest of the year.
What were you surprised about?
Miss Field, the PE teacher, we were doing bikes in PE, and today I got to ride my bike with pedals.
What should you never forget to bring to school?
My lunchbox.
What makes you really happy at school?
When my dad and my mom come to eat lunch with me at the cafeteria.
What is it like riding the bus?
It's a lot of fun. You get to talk to your friends, but you need to sit down.
What's your favorite lunch?
My favorite lunch is pizza.
What advice would you give to a future kindergartner?
Don't be nervous. The teachers are really nice.
What's one thing grown-ups should know about kids in school?
Set your alarm and don't miss the bus.
What should you never forget to bring to school?
Your backpack, your water bottle, and your folder.
What does the principal do?
They help keep us safe.
How did you learn to get to your class?
You actually go to but 800 hole for your red star.
That's right. What is a morning meeting?
We learn our friends' names and we learn to be a better kindergartner.
What is your favorite part of kindergarten?
When we go to music class with Miss Harper.
What is the most important thing you do all day in kindergarten?
The most important thing we do is learn.
So in addition to our kindergarten students, we wanted to share a picture of our current kindergarten teaching team with you. We know that it takes, sorry. We know that it takes a big heart to teach little minds, and our kindergarten team is an outstanding group of ladies. We have, I believe, the best kindergarten teaching team in all of CMS. Their specialty is welcoming children and making them feel at home. Our kindergarten team has a wide range of talent and experience, and they will be your primary connection as your family transitions to kindergarten. This is our leadership team. I'm Crystal Lale, the principal, and you'll also be hearing this morning from Ms. Guevara. Ms. G is what the students call her. She is our assistant principal, and Ms. Daniels is our K2 master teacher. Our shared beliefs are that children learn best when they feel loved, safe, and know that mistakes are expected. And we ask you to join us in this shared belief by understanding that we will make mistakes sometimes, but our goal is to always provide really strong communication and to be an advocate for your child. So we often make the joke that if you only believe about 50% of what they say about us, then we will only believe about 50% of what they say about you guys at home. We hope that your family will be able to join us tomorrow evening for our Beginner's Night Tour. And the Beginner's Night Tour is really focused on engaging the students and giving them a chance to see some of the areas in school that they will be in when they come next year. They usually they're interested to see things like the cafeteria or the gym, things that would be different from what they've experienced in preschool. We are asking that for families who have not yet registered for the tour, if you are going to be able to register, please sign up for the 6:30 p.m. session, as the 6 o'clock session is already filled. And we did originally have those divided by last names, but it will help us balance the group if you could RSVP for the 6:30 session. During the tour, you and your children will learn about all of the fun things that they can prepare for in starting kindergarten at ELE, and hopefully it will help them get excited about the upcoming school year. We're going to share a little information about the first week of school and about the school year, but you will also get follow-up information in August with more details about the school year. What you need to know for now are that our school hours are 7:45 a.m. to 2:45 p.m., and our students may start entering the building beginning at 7:15. This year, breakfast is provided for all students at no charge, and students can come in and have breakfast in the cafeteria beginning at 7:15. And beginning at 7:40, students who are coming in closer to the bell would be able to pick up their breakfast and take it to class. We really want to make sure that we get all of our students in class for the beginning of the school day. You will receive additional information in the mail about 2 weeks before the beginning of the school year. In that mailing, you'll get information about your child's staggered entry date, and we are going to go ahead and share those with you in advance so that you can plan ahead. You'll also learn about the open house date and time, which is when you'll be able to bring your child to school and come in to meet the teacher, drop off their school supplies, and get them prepared for those first days of school. You'll also receive another copy of the school supply list. Bus information this year is going to be provided through an online platform, and Ms. G will share more information about that in just a few moments. This is a copy of the CMS calendar for the upcoming school year. And we ask that families take a look at the calendar and try to plan vacations or other family events around the holidays and vacations that are built into the school year, because beginning in kindergarten, every single day counts. Our students are learning something new every day, and we want our students to be here as many days as possible to maximize their learning. Staggered entry is a process that occurs only in the kindergarten year, and this helps us welcome students to school and help them acclimate by bringing the students in small groups for one day during staggered entry before we have all of the kindergarten students join us at the end of the week. So during staggered entry, students will be with their teacher and they will learn about school routines, classroom routines, and it gives the opportunity for the teachers to complete some basic entry assessments, such as letter identification and sounds, noticing how students' counting ability and their reading behaviors. And this is intended to just help us get a baseline so that we can monitor students' progress throughout the school year. And it also helps teachers begin planning for their differentiated small group instruction. During the staggered entry week, there is a possibility that adjustments will need to be made to class placements. In kindergarten, enrollment is typically less predictable than it is in the upper grades. And if we have classes that are unbalanced, we will need to make some adjustments to meet our class size restrictions and to accommodate new enrollment or students who have transferred to another school since the summer enrollment. This is a chart of the staggered entry dates, and students are assigned to their staggered entry day based on the first letter of their last name. And you'll notice that on the first day of school, which is August 26th this year, we don't have any kindergarten students coming to school that day. And that gives us the opportunity to bring in our new and returning first through fifth graders and help make sure that they can all find their classes and help those parents get into the routine before we add all of our kindergarten students in small groups. So students with the last names A through G will come on Tuesday for their staggered entry day, and then they will start full-time attendance on Friday. The staggered entry day is still a full school day. It's just that students will only attend one day, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and then all students in kindergarten will begin attending on Friday. This chart will be included in the slides that we will share with you guys through email, and it will be posted to our Elizabeth Lane webpage. If you have not already registered for school, online registration is still open and will continue to be open through May 30th. Families are also going to be invited to complete a parent input form that is separate from the registration process. The parent input form is a chance for families to give us to give us information about their children to help inform our class placements. At ELE, all of our teachers are certified and highly qualified in the areas in which they teach, but we know that you have valuable information about your child's preschool experience, or you may have other concerns that you'd like to share with us, and it gives you a chance to give us some background information about characteristics that you know so well about your child. The form is available now on the Elizabeth Lane webpage under the Kindergarten Information section, and will also be included in the links that we share after this morning's presentation. Now I am going to hand off to Ms. Daniels, who's going to share more specific information about kindergarten.
Hi, thanks so much for being here. This is just a little bit about the kindergarten supply kits. As an option, you can order the supply kit through the PTA. It's a really easy process and saves you the school supply fight at Target in August. And that information will be coming out soon, so be on the lookout. That's another thing we're going to send you in the email links as soon as the PTA gets that up and running. Anytime you need kindergarten updates, come to the Elizabeth Lane Kindergarten Update page. There's going to be so much information on there. I know this can all be overwhelming, especially if this is your first time at Elizabeth Lane. So we really try to keep this updated for you so that you are able to be informed but not feel so overwhelmed in one meeting.
The Parent Square part of our communication will not be available to newly enrolled kindergartners until sometime in July. So we do recommend checking the webpage, maybe setting a reminder in your calendar to come back for new information that may be added to the kindergarten page. And beginning in July, when our information system transitions over, we will be able to send you messages through the Parent Square system, and those will initially come to your email address. And once you begin receiving those, you will be able to set up your Parent Square account so that you can get messages directly in the Parent Square app.
Okay, I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. G to go over bus transportation.
Hey y'all. Good morning. I'm Ms. G, Assistant Principal here at Elizabeth Lane. Thanks for being here today. I'm going to go over a few bus and carpool procedures for you. If you would like for your child to ride the bus next school year, you must register with our transportation department. Transportation updates will begin early May, and it will be communicated via Parent Square and the other CMS media platforms. It'll be a two-part process. So at first, you're going to register an account with Alpha Portal. And then the second part is you're going to download the app called Here Comes the Bus. So the Alpha Portal gets you through registration, and the app gets you to track the bus once it's en route next school year. If you've previously registered for kindergarten, you will receive your student ID tomorrow night. If you have not previously registered, you'll get your student ID from us after the registration process. We have a very efficient carpool process here at Elizabeth Lane as well. Drop-off begins at 7:15, lasts till 7:45 when the school day begins, and afternoon pickup begins at 2:45 to 3 o'clock. It looks a little busy down there, but I promise you it's efficient. We'll get you in and out as quickly as possible. If you need after-school care, I would suggest you go ahead and start looking and booking that now. They tend to fill up very quickly. On Monday, June 2nd at 7 a.m., the after-school program that we have here at Elizabeth Lane through CMS will open for registration. I've attached the link for you there. It takes you straight to the after-school website. If you want other childcare providers after school, we have a list of our current facilities that work with us. They pick up those listed there, pick up here at Elizabeth Lane and transport your child for you. And we'll also give you a list of those tomorrow, but I would suggest if you need after school care, please start looking for that now. When visiting our school, safety is our top priority. We want you to be prepared to sign in with your license at our kiosk using Lobby Guard. So always just bring a photo ID with you whenever you come to the building. If you arrive late, if your student arrive, if you arrive late, late arrival, you must come inside and sign in at the front office. Early dismissals also require current photo ID for pickup, and we do request it. The cutoff for that is 2:15. If you are as a parent, you can also register as a volunteer for the CMS website. And the link's like right there at the bottom, but this also expedites the sign-in for school events. So if you're registered as a volunteer, it just clears your status for module celebrations and other school events we have. And if you are already a volunteer, we definitely want you to update your profile annually and include Elizabeth Lane as your selected school. But moving forward, any bus or transportation, anything like that, I'm your go-to person for that. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Lael for other school communication.
So as I mentioned earlier, we understand that communication between home and school is very important. Like I mentioned before, also Parent Square is our main platform for communicating with families. Both school-wide communication and direct messaging from teachers goes through Parent Square. And this is where teachers share their bi-monthly newsletters, and also where we post information about school events or pertinent information like urgent alerts with weather delays are shared through Parent Square. You will get two types of messages through Parent Square, some of them coming directly from CMS for district-wide communication, and then others that come just from Elizabeth Lane. If you have children who are enrolled in middle school or high school, you'll be able to have all of your communication in one place that really helps us streamline communication between home and school. Families can also expect to have a folder that comes home with their child each day, and that's where student work is sent home, notices about things happening at school. So please be sure to make it a part of your routine to check that folder each day and return it back to school. We also hold one parent-teacher conference with families at one time during the year. In the past few years, we have held the kindergarten parent-teacher conferences in January when we hold the first through fifth grade conferences in October. And this really just gives teachers an opportunity to get to know children more before we start sharing the progress information that's included in a conference. Students do also receive a progress report midway through the quarter and a report card at the end of each quarter. We also have a school PTA newsletter that is sent out weekly. That's called the ELE Mini News, and you will be able to register for the Mini News by joining as a PTA member in the fall. In the meantime, I recommend following the ELE PTA Facebook page and Instagram account, because this is a place that information is shared with the school community in general, and you can start to get a feel for the types of events that happen to engage families at ELE. And also, this is a link to our school webpage, which is where information will be shared, and there will be that specific section for incoming kindergarten families. The Mini News is a weekly email update from the PTA that will include volunteer opportunities, information about events, and announcements from special areas and support staff. So we strongly encourage you to join the ELE PTA at the beginning of the school year so that you begin receiving that information when school starts. The website for joining the PTA is at the bottom of this slide, and if there are changes for next year, those will be shared with you in updates. And now we are going to hear from our school nurse, Nurse Amy, about school health requirements.
Good morning. I am Nurse Amy, and I have been here for almost 7 years, I think. Welcome to kindergarten. We're going to talk about immunizations. Everyone that attends a North Carolina school is required to have proof of their up-to-date immunizations through their 5-year visit. A kindergarten physical is also required, and that is called the North Carolina Health Assessment. You can find that on the Elizabeth Lane website, and we'll talk about that in just a second too. The North Carolina Health Assessment must be signed by you and your child's healthcare provider. North Carolina law requires that all principals exclude children from school who haven't completed their health assessment and their immunizations within 30 days of enrollment at school. If your child needs medication, they will need to have a medication authorization form completed by the physician and signed by you as well. This includes over-the-counter medications, prescription medications, ointments, Tylenol, things like that. We do not provide any of those at school. It is up to you to provide the medication along with the forms at the same time. The medications have to be in their original containers, and if it is a prescription, it must have the prescription label on it as well. There is a QR code here that you can scan that will take you to the Elizabeth Lane website where all of those forms are provided if you need them. Look at them carefully. Some are specific to asthma, seizures, and things like that. So choose the one, and if you have questions about it, just call the school and ask to speak with me, or you can email me as well. My email address is at the bottom of this slide here, amy.lattimore@mecnc.gov. And some other forms that, oops, sorry. Go back, Amanda, I'm sorry. There are other forms as well that we were talking about: severe allergies, asthma, diabetes, seizures. There is a diet form on there for dietary restrictions that may need to be completed by your physician if there is an allergy. If there's a preference to what your child wants to eat, then that is something that can be completed just by you and not the physician. All right, thank you so much.
And now Ms. Daniels is going to share more information about a typical day in kindergarten.
Hi there again. This is a typical day of kindergarten. It's definitely a long day in the beginning. I always give my parent advice to schedule after school activities lightly in August, September, October, while your kiddos are getting used to these long school days. We have a big focus on literacy, as you can see, and a long math, and then you can see all the other things that happen throughout the day here. Our reading curriculum is the EL education curriculum. This is for K-5, and it's also in our middle schools in CMS as well. It's a comprehensive standard-based core literacy program that engages teachers and students through compelling real-world content. The first unit they study is all about toys and getting along, and they learn to write through their experiences and learn to talk to each other. And you will hear so much more about curriculum in September, but I'm just giving you a little brief overview of what we do here at CMS and Elizabeth Lane. This is our math curriculum. It's a brand new adoption this year. It has 8 units, and as you can see, it's broken down into numbers and shapes and math in our world, addition and subtraction. It has a lot of center time where they get to explore and conceptualize numbers and comparisons. It's very hands-on. Our teachers have really enjoyed it this year as they see throughout the year that our children are mastering standards better than ever. So I think it's really great feedback and we're loving it. Ms. Lael talked about this a few slides ago, but one of the biggest adjustments to kindergarten is you don't get as much feedback. I remember going from my daycare center or your preschool where you get to see those teachers almost daily, where this is definitely a step in the other way where these are the specific times that we schedule to see you. Of course, we're always, you can reach us through Parent Square. We're happy to meet, but these are the typical times that we meet with you about your child specifically. We do invite you in to celebrate learning with you. They just had this celebration yesterday. They share books that they wrote, and we enjoy this at every single grade level. You'll be invited in at least once a year to celebrate learning. We also have specials every single day. So they will either go to media, art, PE, minds in motion, or music. Preparing for kindergarten. This is the big one. This is what parents ask me about most. Like, how do I get my child ready for kindergarten? I always stand firm and foremost with reading. Read with your child. Reading has such a big impact on their literacy development and social emotional growth. When you read to them, it boosts early literacy skills. It helps them develop language and literacy skills. It builds backgrounds, and it fosters a love of reading. So I always say the best thing you can do is read to them. Here's some other things you can do is rote counting 1, 2, 3, keep on going. Build with blocks and Legos. Building their strength with their hand is so important these days. If you're a brave parent and you don't mind paint, go for it. Markers and crayons. Cutting is another area where we're just seeing kids cut less and less in the preschool age. So when they get to school, there's parts of our curriculum where they have to cut and put things together and sort words, and that's definitely hard for them. And then just provide opportunities to be creative. Socially, to prepare your child for kindergarten, practice taking turns. And that's a really big one in the beginning of the year. We'll also work on that, but if you can work on that at home, we would love it. Following 2-step directions, that's always a challenge, but any kid that can follow 2-step directions just sets them up for success in kindergarten. And then cleaning up after themselves. It's a big step in independence in kindergarten. And so anytime you can get them to own their own materials, that's a big help to us. And we get more learning done when we don't have to keep working on those types of things, which we will always support them in, but it helps us out. Emotional is opportunities to problem solve. I know sometimes me as a mom, I jump in and I try to solve the problem for my child, but it's best when we stand back and we ask them, like, how do you think you should solve that problem? And we begin to let them problem solve for themselves and then coach them through it. confidence in approaching new tasks. This is a really big one. Like they don't want to fail, but we have to teach them that's okay to fail when you're trying something new, and to persevere. That's one that we work on through 5th grade, is to persevere when it gets hard. Lunch. Lunch is definitely one of the hardest transitions. If you come to the tour tomorrow, we're going to show you a video. We're going to show you how big the room is. So if you could help us out by practicing to open the packets, and they do make these packets hard to open sometimes. Like the cheese sticks are really hard to open, and then teaching them to look for that little slit in the bags where they open up like a chip bag, or the gummies, those are hard to find. So if you could practice handing them those types of things. I know I've had parents tell me in the past that they have packed their kid lunch and they practice the week leading up to kindergarten, like opening their lunchbox and the things that are in it. um Opening water bottles can be frustrating for a child. So make sure that you've practiced those things. And then just be mindful of items that are difficult to open. And maybe that's just something you don't pack them in the beginning, because what happens is they get frustrated and sometimes they don't eat it, which we want them to eat and not be grumpy when we return them to you. Water bottles. We have the children love water bottles. They're very hydrated. We have water bottle stations that you'll see around the school. But we do really want to require that they are 15 ounces or less. That just helps us with their frustration level of sometimes when they're carrying their water bottle and their lunchbox and going to the cafeteria. If they have a straw in the water bottle, some of them do, some don't. We love when they fold down, because then they spill them less. So I know those sound silly, but these things help so much. The big metal water bottles make the loudest noises, and they spill in our halls pretty easily. So we just ask that you try to keep them smaller. This is one of my kindergarten teachers' book bag tip she's always wanted us to give, and I think it's a great one, and I probably would have never thought about it without her. But there's such cute book bags out there, but those junior ones don't fit all the items that they have to take to and from school. So if you get the bigger one, that leads to less frustration. And tomorrow you'll see in our tour for beginners night, there's plenty of room for them to store that regular size book bag.
All right, so we want to welcome you to the ELE family, and we also want to take an opportunity to let you guys ask questions. So if you have a question, feel free to use the chat to enter the question, or to come off mute and ask, and a member of our team will be able to respond.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
If we have twins, is it standard practice to separate the twins, or what's the standard practice that ELE in Mecklenburg County Schools has?
So in North Carolina, parents of multiples are allowed to choose if they would like for their children to start in the same classroom or in separate classrooms. And so in the parent input form that you can submit, you can put that into the section that says, is there anything else that you would like for us to know? If you aren't sure about how they're going to do, I would think about how things have gone in preschool. And kindergarten can be a good opportunity for students who, if you feel like they're going to have some trouble separating, to try kindergarten in the same class, or even in the class that is side by side or across the hall. Schools do have the ability to communicate with families if there's some reason that having the siblings in the same class is not working out, and make a change. But that is a family's decision to make.
Typically, what do the students with multiples, like what do other parents have they been doing statistically at your school?
So I would say that it's been about 50% in kindergarten and first grade, and then the vast majority of families separate their multiples once they get second grade and beyond. And it really just depends on, how the years before have gone. If the students are having separation anxiety already, and that's a big concern, then sometimes keeping them together helps. But many families want their kids to be able to develop their own friendships and have more individualism in kindergarten. So you could also reach out to the counselor that will be working with kindergarten next year. Or myself or Miss G, and we could talk to you about, give us some information about your children, and we could help advise you on that decision.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. We'll circle up tomorrow night then.
Okay,
Thank
that
you.
sounds good. And I just noticed that there was a note that the staggered entry dates are incorrect. So the days of that first week of school will be the same as they are in that chart, and I will go back and update those dates in there. I believe the first day of school this year may be 29th, maybe?
I updated
Oh, you
them.
did? Okay. Thank you, Miss Daniels. It'll be corrected when we send that out. Sorry about that.
There was another question about guidance on attire.
Oh, so we recommend that children come to school in play clothes, their shabbiest chic. We do ask that kids wear sneakers every day because of the playground safety. We do not have school uniforms at Elizabeth Lane, and our dress code is pretty general. That can be found on our school webpage under the parent information section in the family handbook. But we ask that clothes be, modest enough to provide privacy when children are running, jumping, climbing, and sitting on the floor. And dressing to impress should be reserved for days like picture day, just because of how active students are when they're at school.
Do we have after school activities for kindergartners?
This year, there have been a few after-school club type activities that kindergartners were eligible for. I believe those were soccer, maybe camera club was one of the ones that kindergarten could join. And information about after-school activities and clubs comes out throughout the school year. Most of them are provided by vendors, and so they will send out flyers or information to all families when their registration period is about to open.
When you sign up for a bus, are you just receiving a spot on it? And then you can still do carpool, drop off, pick up as desired.
Miss G, will you address that one?
Yes. So with bus transportation, you are reserving a spot on it, but we do have some flexibility if you wanted to do carpool here and there. We would just ask that you just try to commit to one type of transportation. That way the teachers are clear with the expectations for that. If you do want to do both, would need to complete both processes. So the bus process as well as the carpool process, and communicate that schedule with your child's teacher.
And CMS in some years in the past has had a policy that if a student does not ride for 10 consecutive days, that they could lose their bus assignment. And that's typically just based on how many bus requests there are. And so I'm not aware of that happening this year for any students, but that's something to be aware of. If you decide to just sign up for the bus, I would not recommend not using the bus for the first 2 or 3 weeks of school while they are working on adjusting their routes. I would at least have your child try the bus 1 or 2 days during that time period so that they don't lose their assignment on the bus.
Are you going to be sharing this presentation deck?
Yes, it will
And
be
then-
sent out and on the school webpage.
Is walking allowed for those who live close to the school?
Yes, there is a process for parents to follow to request approval to be a walker, and that will be available in August as well. The form is just filled out and then submitted to the school office so that we can verify that the address is within our safe walk to school zone. and then students will get the approval for being a walker. We do ask that parents of kindergarten and first grade students have someone who's meeting their child at the school to walk, because those children aren't ready to do that independently yet. The typical class size could range anywhere from 18 to 23 students. This year, our kindergarten classes are at about 19 students in each class. All right, well, it sounds like we may have addressed the majority of our questions. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us this morning, and we hope that we'll get to meet you in person tomorrow evening. And we look forward to welcoming you and your family to Elizabeth Lane. And you will receive lots more information in August. So thank you for taking the time this morning, and we will be in touch. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much.